Well, most mold testing that you're going to have done by sort of an outside person is they're going to come into your home, and most of them will not even do a visual inspection unless you ask for that. But they will set up what's called a spore trap vacuum in certain rooms of your home, and they'll take about a 5 second to 1 minute air sample and then send that off to a lab to find out what they found in the air. And when they're doing that, they are not even looking at mycotoxins at all. They're just looking at what spores are in the air versus inside your home versus what's outside your home. So we offer two types of testing. One is a DIY test, which we can talk about later. But what Diane is referring to is the EMA test. And the EMA test is an environmental mold and mycotoxin assessment. And that's actually testing for 15 of the most toxic molds, what we know that are molds that are formed by water damage, which is really what you're concerned about, and 16 of the mycotoxins that are associated with those molds. So when you do that type of testing, you're actually looking at the same results as what occurs when you do a urine test with your practitioner that tells you if you're secreting mycotoxins in your urine. So it's the only way to look at if what you are breathing is the same as what your body is detoxing. So I guess that's the best way for me to explain it. Otherwise, you're just looking at what molds are in the environment, but molds don't necessarily mean that you have a mycotoxin problem. So mycotoxins are your exposure risk, whereas mold is more of just what is there, if that makes any sense. Because mycotoxins are a poison. So I think a lot of times what people are missing when they're looking at mold is they're thinking of allergy, mold allergy, like when you go get tested for allergies and they'll say, well, my doctor says I don't have a mold allergy. So even if I have these molds in my house, it won't be a problem. But when you're exposed to certain molds that make mycotoxins, you're being essentially poisoned because it's a poison. It's not an allergen.